Okay, okay, here we go. So here's what we did on Friday. Just a quick recap, because today you're going to be looking at, is it odd, even, or neither? And again, if last year in Algebra 2 Trig, you have faint memory of this, part of the reason is that it didn't stick is because you did it all in one day. And we've now spread it over 2. So a quick refresh of even Steven. If something is even, here's what happens. This is our function. If you take that guy and you plugged in the opposite, you would get back to your starting place again, right? Let's remember why that is. So it looked like this. You're going to draw these little notes. You're going to put this guy like this. And here's what we did 2 days ago. We said if you plug in a 2, you would get 4, right? And if you plugged in a -2, you'd still get 4. Because if you plug in a negative, you end up at your starting point, right? That makes it even Steven. You can plug in a 2 or a -2, gets you the same answer. That's even. Now, odd is a little different. And here is what it looks like, but you're going to be like, I don't even know what the hell that means. So I'm going to explain that to you. So the first thing I need you to do, because now we're coming over to the odd, I need you to put a little odd graph on here. So here's a nice one. Make it look kind of like that. It goes like this, and it goes like that. Kind of like a little S. Do you see it? How do I know that it's odd? Because I could spin it, right? Danny, I could spin this. So go ahead and write this, okay, good? So it's odd. And here's what happens with odd. If I plug in a number like 2, maybe I'm going to get 3. Yay. 2 gives me 3. But here's what's cool. If it's odd, if I plug in -2, I get -3. So what happens that's new is if it's even, you plug in a negative, you get the same number. But if it's odd, you get the opposite answer. So here's what I want you to write down. If you plug in an opposite number, you get an opposite answer. And that's what's new. If you plug in an opposite number, it will give you an opposite answer. Right? It won't give you the same answer. It's going to give you the exact opposite. It's going to give you the exact opposite. Right? And that's why. Because it doesn't mirror it. Opposite number gives you opposite answer. That actually is the one that makes the most sense, right? So if I plug in an opposite number, I get an opposite answer. Okay, so we are going to try one. Are you ready? So here we go. Let me clean this all up for you. La, 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 la. Here's what I want you to write down. I want you to write that down. Now, we're going to practice with numbers first, because all of us, me included, do better with numbers in the beginning. But we're going to get comfortable with the numbers to tell if it's odd, even, or nothing. And then when we're comfortable with numbers, we'll switch to the letters, okay? So here we go. That's our starting point. That's our starting point. So we're going to first plug in this number. That's our regular number. That's just 2, right? We just start there. If we plug in the number 2, we get some answer. So do that right now. Take a look at your neighbors. Make sure you're going to get the same answer that I do. Oh, what the hell happened there? That was so weird. 3 times 2. Did you get 6? Okay. Now, we're going to plug in the opposite of 2, which is -2. And one of 3 things will happen. Either we'll get 6. That would be even. We'll get -6. That would be odd. Or we'll get like 700. And that would be random and weird and nothing, right? So if we get the same opposite answer, odd. If we get random ass weird answer, nothing. You ready? So here we go. Plug it in. We see what happens. 3 times -2. We got -6. So is that bad boy even, odd, or nothing? He's odd. He's odd because I got the opposite answer. Does that make sense? That's what we're doing tonight. Even, odd, or nothing. Okay, so let's try another one with some numbers. So let's try, we're going to not do this one yet. Hold off on this one. Wait a second, don't do him. Do this guy right here. So we're going to first plug in f of 2, right? I want everyone right now to give this a try. Plug in that. We're just taking our 2, we're plugging it in. Two to the 4th plus 2 to the 2nd plus 3. I think that's 16 plus 4. Okay, 23. That's our home base. That's what even would be. Here's what odd would be, right? And here is what anything else would be, 1700. I don't know, something else, right? Even, odd, nothing. So now go ahead and plug in -2 and see what happens. Does it get you 23? Does it get you -23? Does it get you 75,000? Here I go. -2 to the 4th plus -2 squared plus 3, 16 plus 4 plus 3. Hey, look at that. What is that, baby? Odd, even, nothing. It's even. It's even. It got back to where I started from. So now I'd like you to try the next one all on your own. Right over here. He's over here. Yep. I am going to erase a bunch of stuff while you're doing that. I like the 2s. You could do 5s. You could do whatever you want. I don't care. Here's the reality. It's just a helper because until we do it with letters, it's not really a proof. Okay, here I go. I'm going to plug in 2 to get my home base. I get 8 minus 4. Did you get 4? Everybody okay? Yeah? Okay, here I go. F of -2. I'm going to get -8 plus 4. I got -4. This bad boy, he's odd. She's odd. Yeah? So I want you to notice something because there is a little bit of a shortcut that doesn't always work, but it kind of does. Notice on that first one we did, they all had even exponents and it became even. This guy has odd exponents and it is coming out to be odd, right? So it's a little bit of a hint, but the only thing that you've got to watch for is something like this. Let's see if I have it on the next one. Yeah, let's do this one. Because you're like, okay, Miss T, you told us even exponents might be even. Odd exponents might be odd. I'm going to guess this one would be odd. Give it a try. They won't let, he's been in there for like a week. He's never coming out. He's never coming out. Not the death penalty. I mean, he might come out, but he's going to get like 20 years.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's right. It's totally normal. No, I think he's gonna get like 20 years. I think that he's gonna. I think it's the fact that he moved people across state lines, turns it into trafficking. I think that it's. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna plug in 2. I'm gonna get 8 minus 5. I'm gonna get 3. I'm gonna plug in -2. I'm going to get -8 minus 5. Wait a second. I got 13. What the holy hell? What is that? That's nothing. And here's why. That is an odd exponent, but this guy actually has an x to the 0. And you know what we call anything to the 0 part? That's like an even exponent. He behaves like an even. So he's a mix. He's a mix of odd and even. But now we have to do these with letters. You guys ready? So the letters are going to be a little challenging. Here we go. Let's do this one with letters. We're ready to step up our game to letters. Now, before we do this, I want to talk about the home base. This is our home base for even, right? If I get back to this, it's even. But I need to talk to you about what the home base looks like for odd. Let's write the home base for odd. And here's where it's weird. The home base for odd changes everyone's signs. So it's going to be -x to the 3rd plus 6x. Does that make sense? Are we okay with that? So if it's even, it'll keep the signs the same. But if it's odd, it's going to change them both. Everybody okay? This is where it gets weird. This is the hardest part. So here's what we're going to start with. We already got f of x, so let's do this. F of -1x. Let's plug that in. Plug that in nice and carefully. Do it now. Plug in -1x. Nice and carefully. You know me. I like that. I like splitting it up. Do you have to split it up? You don't. But I'm telling you, you will make less mistakes if you split it up. Everyone with me still? We're ready to clean it up. Here we go. -1 times -1 times -1. -1 times -1 times -1. That's going to be -x to the 3rd. Have I lost anybody on that one? I'm looking around. No? Okay. And then negative and a negative is going to be a positive 6x. So does it match this guy? No. Does it match this guy? Yes. He's odd. He's odd. Is everybody okay with that? Yeah? Okay, we're going to do one more, and then I think I'm going to stop you. Try this one. We're -1x. Do I like plugging in numbers better? I do, but again, math says you have to check every number, and I just don't have the time to check every number in the world. So before I start, I'm going to go ahead over here and write what odd would look like, just so I know. Do you have to do this? You don't, but I'm going to do it because it's going to make me happy. Okay, if everything changes, it'll be odd. It'll be odd. So here I go. F of -1x equals -1 to the 3rd, x to the 3rd, -1 squared x squared, negative 1, x. Okay, here we go. Clean it up. Ooh, I got one left over. So negative x to the third. These guys go away. Plus x squared. That guy stays. So let's see. Does it look like this guy? No. Does it look like this guy? No. He's neither. Because we have a mix of odd and even exponents. It's nothing. It's nothing. Okay. I'm not going to lie. That's kind of like level B of A, B, C, D, E, F. That's like a B level. Here comes A level, and it's a little tricky. And then I'm shutting up. Are you guys ready? So if you've been ignoring me up until now, son, if you've been ignoring me, watch this next part, and then you can go back to your drawing. Okay. The last one got a fraction one. And I warned you, fractions are weird. Fractions are tricky. We did a fraction one on Friday, and it was tricky. Fraction for odd is weird, and we're going to talk about it. So if I have the fraction 1/2, and I want you to give me the opposite of 1/2, can anyone tell me? And I'm not tricking you. This is not a trick question. What is the opposite of 1/2? It's just as easy as you think it would be. Just negative 1/2, right? It's just negative 1/2. Yay. But here's the issue. That negative can go either on the top or on the bottom, but does it go to both? Can you tell me why? It would cancel, right? It would cancel. So if that is my even home base, my odd home base is either this guy changes and not the bottom, or the bottom changes and not the top. But we don't change both the top and the bottom. You know why? Because that flips it to even, because they cancel out. Does that make sense? Fractions are hard. Let's do this one together and decide, is it odd, even, or neither? So here's what I'm telling you. Here's my even. Here's odd. Here is also odd. And if it's none of that, it's neither. Give this one a try. This is the last one. That one. Everyone try this last one. Do this last one. I don't do this last one. Do this last one. I know it's fun. Do this last one. Do this last one. Make me happy. I don't want it. This is already the worst test that everyone takes all year. So I just don't want it to kill people. Last, just give this one a try. I'm waking up. Plug in. I know. Do it. Do this last one. Do it. Because truly, it shows up on SATs all the time. It is the one place where I feel like I can be like, look, I raised your score. A lot of you aren't taking it, but some of you are, so it's not okay for me to like skip that. Are you guys ready? Here we go. Right, it can help, it won't hurt. It's I'm going to speak as that. Guys, let me finish this film and then we're done. Here we go. Negative 1, x on the top. Negative 1 squared, x squared plus 4. Here's what it cleans up to be. Negative x on the top, x squared plus 4 on the bottom. Odd, even, or nothing. He's odd because he doesn't match this guy, but he's got one thing changed. And on a fraction, just one thing has to change, either the top or the bottom. Are we good? Okay, I'm done. That was a lot. I got you. I'm stopping. Goodbye.